Alright, welcome and greetings everyone. This is my 1989 Dodge Raider, also known as a Mitsubishi Montero. So I've been working on overhauling the engine lately and ran into a slight snag. I forgot to install this thermostat properly. So I just put it in there originally. You can see the mounting hole there. I just originally put it in there and used the gasket and of course a little bit of some sealant. I got it over here. It's called Right Stuff Gasket Maker. The point is, I went through and installed it, but I just kind of put it in there. I didn't really take care of how I was doing that. And this being a new engine and, the amount of time, effort, energy, and money that I've spent on getting all this together, I just want to take care of it. So what you're looking at here, this is the iPad with a factory service manual for this particular engine, the 3.0 liter 1989 Mitsubishi Montero. Now in here it talks about a couple of things. It talks about the exact temperature settings for the opening valve temperature, which you can see there is 190 degrees. And then down below you can also see how to install this. Service points of installation. Number 5, installation of thermostat. Install the thermostat to the intake manifold as illustrated. Alright, not a big deal. So caution here. The thermostat flange fits over the manifold seat. Ensure that the thermostat is not installed at an angle. Alright, so I guess what that means is there's a really tiny little seat here that you can just make out. And if I install this on here, you'll see how it fits into that seat. And it fits flush along that rim. You can see how I'm kind of rotating it here. It fits flush inside that seat. Alright, so what it's saying is don't install it at an angle, kind of like what you're seeing here. Alright, now the other thing is, when I looked at the factory service manual, it says install the thermostat to the intake manifold as illustrated. Now when I look at the illustrations here, it shows what's referred to as the intake manifold projection and that it must be parallel. So that's for the 2.6 liter engine, and what we're looking at now, this is for my 3.0 liter engine. Now intake manifold projection, what that is referring to is, you see that little line, that line here that goes up and down, the one on the far right, it's vertical. This line, let's see if I can do this better. This line in particular is the projected line. So what that means is that this line corresponds, now let's take a look at the intake manifold. That line corresponds to this particular line that goes across here. You see that? There's a little bit of a, like a little webbing or a little collar here. And you'll notice that if you were to extend an imaginary line through that imaginary line would be just north of this particular mounting hole. Now the reason that's important is when I look at this image, these two mounting holes that you can see, one here and one here. Now these two mounting holes don't really correspond to how this image is laid out until you rotate this image. Okay? Now what you're going to notice is that, I'll try to match up the lines here. So, try to match these up. You'll see that the two holes are lined up here. And that projected line refers to that little metal, I'm calling it a little channel here. This little metal channel here underneath. And the instructions say that when you install the thermostat, that those should be parallel. Now the markings on the thermostat, they're kind of hard to see, so I'm going to get over into the light. The markings on this thermostat, okay? You're going to see these two little rivet holes up on the top and on each side, right? So that's the horizontal line. That's the, if I were to run an imaginary line through that, that's where the mating lines need to be parallel. Alright. Now, what I'm going to do, and I'll do this later to finish this up, but when I install this, I want to make sure that the imaginary line that runs between these two sets of rivets, I'll point them out, between these two sets of rivets from here to here, run parallel to that channel that I called, that port that I called the channel earlier. Maybe that works a little better. This rivet and this set of rivets. So there's an imaginary line that goes through there, and that's what's supposed to be parallel to the bottom. I'm pretty sure that's right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this up, and I'll let you guys know how that works out some other time.